Friday Night Stars, presented by Whataburger. Whataburger's Buffalo Ranch Chicken Strip Sandwich is back. 3 chicken strips, signature buffalo sauce, and buttermilk ranch. Available for a limited time.
It is week number 12 of this Texas high school football season, and it's the best week of the season so far because it is by district week, the start of the Texas high school football playoffs. Welcome to Friday Night Stars on a Thursday night as usual. Bill Jones along with Kyle Youmans. Here we go. It's time to get this thing kicked off for real now, right, Kyle?
Hey, it's do or die, win or go home, and it's an opportunity for programs to establish a future mindset of winning games and, of course, trying to stay alive going into Thanksgiving and beyond. State championship runs start today, and I can't be more excited about it.
Of course, the goal for all these teams, the initial goal is to win this first one, but you want to be practicing on Thanksgiving morning. And, of course, in Texas high school football, this is a 6-week process to state championship weekend at AT&T Stadium in Arlington. Let's kick things off with our Whataburger game of the week, and we're in Class 6A, Division I, matchup of 2 teams ranked in the top 20 in the great state of Texas as the Coppell Cowboys will play host to the Prosper Eagles.
Yeah, and I'll give credit to the Dallas Morning News for pointing out this stat, but the only matchup of state-ranked Dallas area teams taking place in the first round of the playoffs, not only at the 6A level, which I think adds to the intrigue around this matchup, but any level across the board. Starting with Prosper, a team ranked inside the top 20. A lot of people thought that Prosper would be down this year with the addition of Walnut Grove, with the addition of Rock Hill over the last few years. Not the case. They know how to run the football, and they've done so by putting up some massive numbers over the last few weeks. From the moment that they were held in check against Allen, 22-7, that was really their last big test along the way. They've put up 84 points against Princeton. They turned around and put up a 50-burger the week later against Plano West, and they've done it all on the ground throughout the year. I really love the way that they spread it out. They've got multiple tailbacks, a running back, or a quarterback that can run it as well. You've got that number 1 rushing attack for a reason, but they're going up against the Coppell Cowboys team that has just been unbelievable, and we've mentioned them throughout the season here on Friday Night Stars, and it's because of Edward Griffin and what he does at quarterback. He has 38 touchdowns, Bill, in the regular season. That's 10 games worth. He had 38 touchdowns, 2 interceptions, and he still has 6 more games possibly to go if Coppell gets to where they want to get to, and that's get back to the state title game. So this is going to be a fun matchup, but you've got 2 very contrasting styles with the passing attack of Coppell and the ground attack from Prosper.
The other thing that we should point out, Coppell is hosting this game, and that's what you're seeing in the by-district round, the opportunity for teams to host games, and it's a reward for their unbeaten regular seasons.
And I love that. I think it's one last opportunity for your seniors to play at home with everything on the line and try and defend your home turf. I love having these at campus sites to start, and then of course we can move into the neutral sites, start playing at some of these higher level venues and get the bigger crowds involved as well.
Okay, the winner of this game next week in the area round will play either Lake Highlands or South Grand Prairie on down the road. The next week could be North Crowley. We'll have more on them in a moment. But staying in Class 6A Division I, how about this matchup at Pennington Field in Bedford as Aaron Lineweaver's state-ranked Trinity Trojans will play host to the Mansfield Tigers. And let's take a listen to those Trojans.
I feel really fortunate to be in the playoffs. It's a big deal, being a Texas kid and a coach's kid. It's just a special time of the year.
We never really lost the size of O-linemen, but, you know, the past couple years it's been rough for us, but we reestablished ourselves on the map and we're making our name big again.
Unlike other offensive linemen, I feel like we get a lot of credit because, you know, there's other schools that don't give credit to the O-line, but, you know, us Hogs, you know, we get good credit for what we do up front.
We're going to make a run for it. We've been waiting for this. You know, it's nothing new to us, so we got a lot to prove.
Love what Aaron Lineweaver has done with that Trinity program. As was mentioned there, they were down for a couple of years. Now they're back up. And, of course, his father, Steve Lineweaver, led the Trojans to state championships going back, it's been nearly 20 years ago now.
Well, and with that tradition, I mean, what has been the cornerstone and the focus of the Euless Trinity Trojans?
It's been running the football, physicality.
Those are the two things they do best. You've got J.T. Harris, 1,200 yards, 14 touchdowns on the ground. And that sounds like a lot of touchdowns, right? 14 rushing scores. He's not the only one on the roster with 14 touchdowns rushing. Josh Bell has it as well. This is a team that plays great defense over the last few weeks. 13 points allowed. Early in the campaign against some of the better teams in terms of offense, juggernauts, they held them under 30 points. I like Euless Trinity a lot to get back to where they were as a traditional program, and that's run the football and be physical like you just said.
You know, and I saw them play against South Lake Carroll early in the season, and that was an offensive onslaught both sides. Carroll could not stop them. Basically, it came down to the last possession of the game, a fourth down stop by Carroll, and what was a very high-scoring one-score game. It's going to be interesting to see if Trinity can carry that over against Mansfield here in the playoffs.
Well, and that was really their coming out party here in 2024. That was the, hey, we're back. We are still Euless Trinity. And also, they haven't lost since that game. So maybe the wake-up moment for the Trojans, and you're going to see how they fare this week against a good Mansfield team as well.
And on down the road in a couple of weeks, the winner of this game could be playing against the Allen Eagles or the Fighting Farmers of Louisville. That's where we're going next. As Allen, unbeaten on the season, will be playing host to Louisville, and that huge stadium ought to be filled to the brim for this matchup in by-district.
Yeah, and this has been a normal by-district matchup from these two squads over the last few years. They've seen each other early in the playoffs the last couple of seasons. I even had the chance to call one of the games while Michael Hawkins was still at quarterback for Allen before he transferred to Emerson, is now one of the quarterbacks at Oklahoma.
This is the Kyler Murray Bowl. Remember Kyler Murray started his high school career at Louisville, transferred to Allen.
And had 3 state championships with Allen. So there's a lot of animosity between the two because of their playoff meetings, and both of which have, again, contrasting styles. Allen likes to get up. They like to score. They average those 49 points per game. Then you've got a stifling Louisville defense that's coming off of 3 straight weeks of not allowing their opponent to score more than 2 touchdowns. They shut out Little Elm last week on the road. They took down Denton Geyer 27-17 in week 10, and then Hebron in week 9 at a 39-14 total as well. So Allen's going to get up and try and score. Louisville's got the defense to try and slow him down as well.
It's going to be fun to watch, and the winner of this one will get either Haltom or Richardson next week, and looming in a couple of weeks could be Euless Trinity or Mansfield. All right, and finally, I told you earlier North Crowley would be featured, and North Crowley is featured, taking on a Byron Nelson team in the Class 6A Division I playoffs that went 8-2 this season, coming off a stellar season last year, but North Crowley has been unreal all year.
Yeah, they are probably my favorite to challenge the Panthers of Duncanville at that 6A level. I think if there is a team that can take down Duncanville, it's going to be the Chris Jimerson-led North Crowley Panthers and what they're able to do. Of course, they've won those 3 straight district titles, but they've got more talent this year and more depth this year than they ever have in the 817. They're representing for that area code with guys like Jonathan Cunningham, who's going to Texas, Cornelius Warren, who's going to UNLV, Daniel Bray, the running back, 3-star commit to SMU. They've got commits to Tulsa and Baylor and North Texas, Washington State. They have Division I talent littered across that roster. Byron Nelson has talent in their own right. I really like their offensive line. They've got Henry Fanuku up front. He's a 3-star commit to Missouri, 6'3", 290 pounds. He can help pave the way. If they're going to have a chance, though, they've got to slow down that high-flying North Crowley attack because they're going to put up some numbers, and they're going to do so early and often.
And another guy that North Crowley has, Quentin Gibson, who's on a record-setting pace as far as the number of receiving touchdowns he has this season.
Unbelievable, because he was having the early start to the campaign where he had the 20 touchdowns. What did he end up with?
It's upwards of 22 touchdowns.
22 touchdowns.
Yeah.
So he's been fantastic. And again, there's still 6 games left if these guys get to where they want to get. North Crowley ranked number 3 in the state right now. They absolutely think they can win it all.
You know what? We are just moments away from kickoff right here at the Star in Frisco inside Ford Center. The first of 2 showdowns at the Star. We get to that when Friday Night Stars continues in just a moment.
This segment was brought to you by Whataburger. Yes, it's true. All new iced coffee has officially arrived at Whataburger. Stop by and enjoy one today.
Time for the showdowns at the Star. These aren't just showdowns at the Star. These are by-district showdowns at the Star. Starting tonight, Jeff Rayburn's Lone Star Rangers are playing WTY. What a nice regular season for the Longhorns out of DISD. And then on Friday night, it will be Kyle Youmans on the call, along with Nick Harris of the Fort Worth Star-Telegram, as the Reedy Lions play host to the Creekview Mustangs out of Carrollton Farmers Branch. And you've got a chance to take a look at that Reedy team quite a bit this year.
Oh yeah, Reedy and Lone Star came down to a fun one last week. Winner basically takes tonight's game at the Star as the winner out of District 5-5A Division 1. And then, of course, Reedy losing that game. It felt bad for the Reedy Lions. Went into it with all these expectations, getting to that point of the season. They felt like they had the team good enough to beat Lone Star. And even without Davian Gross, they still found a way Lone Star found a way to win that ball game.
Did you happen to go by Whataburger after the game?
And they had it all Lone Starred out. That was exactly what it was. Even, I think Gross might have made his way to Whataburger. I don't know if that's true or not. He may not be a Whataburger guy.
We're all
the
Whataburger
battle of the
guys,
Whataburgers. Yeah.
Friday Night
Who knows?
Stars.
Exactly.
And you know those Reedy Lions, they want to get back to Whataburger. And let's hear from those Reedy Lions who are back at Ford Center.
Playing at the Star, it's an amazing thing. You know, it's unbelievable, that nice stadium, you know. And when I was younger, you look up to the people that practice in there, so it makes you like want to be better, strive to be like them.
We call it the utopia of football because we know that the wind's not going to blow and it's going to be 72 degrees, give or take, on Friday night. And I always give them a weather report on Monday morning. You know, no matter if we're out here practicing in the freezing or it's 100 degrees, rest assured, boys, you know, the weather's going to be perfect on Friday night when you get to play. And what a blessing, you know, to go into that facility. I remember last year we had gotten there a little bit early, and our Mike Backer, Khalil Smith, he's playing at Ouachita Baptist now. Somehow he got snuck off and got on the 50-yard line, and there's Dak and there's Coach McCarthy, and he gets his picture. You know, like what other high school kid would have that opportunity? It was wild. And so, you know, it made a dream come true for him, and I think going over there and playing is a dream come true for most of our guys.
Playing at the Star is awesome. You know, it's like a dream come true. Obviously, I've always been a Cowboys fan growing up my whole life, and playing there and playing on the same field as, you know, some of the people I've looked over, it's awesome.
Now, that's a smart guy. Mason Easley's a smart guy. Good Cowboys fan, gets to play at the Star in Frisco. They've got a chance to kind of forget what happened against Lone Star last week. They allowed 550 yards of total offense, and Jake Ferner, their star quarterback at Reedy, who's been almost impenetrable all year long, 12 of 26 passing, 203 yards, 2 touchdowns, had a couple of miscues along the way. They put up 30 points. They're going to have to try and keep that defense on the field as well and kind of make some things happen on that side of the ball.
You know, they're on opposite sides of the bracket, Frisco Lone Star and Frisco Reedy when you look at Region 2 of Class 5A Division 1.
Yeah, and it's going to be a tougher road for Reedy now because they'll go up against Highland Park quicker if they both continue to work that direction. But I wouldn't put it past District 5 to represent in a big way. I think McKinney North has a chance to make a run. Reedy can certainly do so, and of course Lone Star at the top of that district as well.
And you mentioned McKinney North. They take on unbeaten West Mesquite in this first round of the playoffs. When we come back, we check in on Todd Dodge and the Lovejoy Leopards, who have a big by-district matchup this week when Friday Night Stars continues in a moment.
This segment is brought to you by Whataburger. Whataburger's Buffalo Ranch Chicken Strip Sandwich is back. 3 chicken strips, signature buffalo sauce, and buttermilk ranch. Available for a limited time.
Welcome back to Friday Night Stars as we get you ready for all that by-district action going on around the Metroplex and around the state of Texas. Starting tonight, the bulk of the games are tomorrow night. One of those in Lucas, right by Allen. Whoa, what a big night it's going to be. Allen Eagle Stadium is going to be full. And then you got over at Lovejoy. One of the stories of this season is Todd Dodge coming out of retirement to coach Class 5A Lovejoy Leopards. He wanted to get back closer to his grandkids. Of course, his son, Riley Dodge, is the head coach at South Lake Carroll. Well, I don't know that Todd Dodge thought that he would get in a district quite like the one he got in, which was one of the most difficult ones in the whole state of Texas. But they're hosting the Timberview Wolves on Friday night in Lucas.
Yeah, they're a high-flying offense. Had the opportunity to watch them play last week. They put up 500 yards of total offense against Frisco Memorial. Jacob Janasek, who is a younger quarterback. He's a junior quarterback, not getting a ton of looks from a recruiting standpoint, but I think he should be. He's got a big arm. Really like the way that he commands an offense, takes care of the football. They've got a couple of backs that I really like, Ben Adams and Zach Jones, kind of a 1-2 punch. Adams is that bowling ball, physical running back that's going to go downhill and hit you at the second level, where Zach Jones is more of a quick, shifty, lateral, filled back. And then they've just got a stable of weapons that they like spreading the football out to. They had 8 different receivers in that game in the final week of the regular season have a catch against Memorial. So Lovejoy's going to get up and throw the football around. They're going to run it as well. They can run behind a big, burly offensive line up front. The one thing about Mansfield-Timberview, you can never count out a team from Mansfield ISD. They're going to bring toughness. They're going to bring speed. And overall, they're going to find a way to make this a game in the fourth quarter. It doesn't matter who they're playing. They may not come out on top, but they're going to make it a game no matter what.
Yeah, and they come out of a tough district themselves. You know, it's interesting when you look ahead, the playoff road, Class 5A Division II playoffs. You could have a rematch in the regional semifinal. Lovejoy against Anna, which was a 66-62 Lovejoy win during the district season. And then you got Argyle and at the bottom half of the bracket as well. Yeah. It's going to be very interesting.
No doubt. And Argyle won that district, and you've got
Walnut Grove
won that district. The way that you look at that district now, it's crazy. We talked about 4 teams make the playoffs, but there were 5 very capable teams overall. Melissa was the team on the outside looking in. I still can't believe the Melissa Cardinals, as good of a team as that is not playing them this week because of how tough it was in that game.
Melissa wants a realignment. Not wait another year. Let's realign this year. Let's do it again here in February. All right, we wrap up Friday Night Stars with another big matchup, including those Argyle Eagles, when we come back in a moment.
Friday Night Stars, presented by Whataburger. Yes, it's true. All new iced coffee has officially arrived at Whataburger. Stop by and enjoy one today.
Final couple of minutes here of Friday Night Stars as we're getting you set for all those high school football playoff games. Looks like a great weekend for it, starting tonight. And the bulk of the games on Friday night. North Crowley, by the way, will play on Saturday afternoon. One more game for myself, Bill Jones, and Kyle Youmans to tell you about, and that's Class 5A Division II. The Argyle Eagles, who have made the jump here in the last couple of years up to Class 5A. And, you know, they've got 9 straight wins. Their only loss came in the season opener against Lone Star, and they're going to be playing host to the Emerson Mavericks out of Frisco.
Now, of course, Emerson making their run last year all the way to the state semifinals behind Michael Hawkins at quarterback, who we mentioned in the early going. The Mavericks still have some firepower, but it's not the same team that they've had previously. They've had victories against Frisco Reedy, who we talked about earlier, Melissa, who we talked about earlier. They've put together some big-time wins, but it's going to be a tough thing to try and keep pace with the depth that Argyle has. And we've talked about the number 4 ranked Argyle Eagles winning those 9 straight games, how they were going to fare, making the jump in a classification, but they still find a way behind Will Kresiak at the wide receiver position. He enters the game with 48 catches, 840 yards, 10 touchdowns on the year. And then you talk about the defense, that's scored 137 points, not allowed points. That's how much they've scored going the other way. That is a really talented Argyle defense, and they take advantage.
Well, you can tell. And by the way, they're in the bottom half of the bracket in Region 1, Class 5A Division II playoffs. Could have a matchup with Walnut Grove here in a couple of weeks.
Now, that would be a fun one. I think either one of these teams, Emerson would love a chance to get back to Walnut Grove. Remember, that was a 29-28 Walnut Grove victory in district play over Emerson. So they would love another shot to try and win that game. It came down to a 2-point conversion. Argyle's going to try and not let them even get close to that point.
Okay, in our last 20 seconds here, give me one team to watch to make a run.
Ooh, make a run or win the whole thing?
Okay, win the whole thing.
I'm going to say North Crowley gets it done this year. I think Duncanville's fantastic. They've got a 5-star quarterback, but the depth of North Crowley is what I think is going to be the difference.
All right, we'll be back again next week to wrap up the by-district round. Look ahead to the area playoff games. Enjoy your high school football playoff weekend.